Hi,
Hello,
I'm Joy, and
I'm Will.
we are the hosts of Primary Tenant Pod,
Indeed, we are, where we are going to talk about the best hockey league in the world
the PWHL baby.
and our very own team,
Hell yeah,
which is super exciting.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so let's introduce ourselves a little bit. We wanted to do a proper introduction pod, but then the signings started happening. We realized that we could not do that, so this is just gonna be very quick.
Yeah.
Um,
Basically, Will and I have been hockey fans basically since we were small children, growing up in Vancouver.
we stopped after 2011.
Yep, for reasons you might understand.
Just fill that in yourselves.
Yep. But we came back to it roughly 2022, 2023. And 2023, as we all know, was it 2023 or was it 2024?
But the league was announced in 2023.
Yes.
Started play January 1st, 2024. It
Yes.
was a New Year's Day present for us all. And on that day, the PWHL began 4-0 shutout loss for Toronto.
My team, by the way, my team at the time.
Corinne Schroeder, the GOAT, best goalie in the world. I know it might not be actually true, but I've held that belief ever since that game because I'm very stubborn and can't be swayed from my opinions. So, also we can't forget about Ella Shelton, who scored the first ever goal.
Of course not.
Yeah, and so we just hopped into it right away. Super excited about women's hockey and everything.
Very sad that the only teams that existed were out in the East, but
Yeah.
we'll get to that.
I had been planning to be a Toronto 6 fan actually of the PHF, and then that didn't happen. So, but when the PWHL happened, we were like, okay, this is exciting. We started learning all the players and everything, and I became soul bonded to the Ottawa Charge, and then they cut Grant Mentis, and Chica didn't come back over the first year, but we persevere. Anyway,
Don't worry.
Yeah,
Don't
but
worry.
we basically didn't even dream of having our own team. It was very much
Yeah.
hypothetical. I would think about it. I'd go, oh, PWHL Vancouver. I thought from day one we'd probably play at the Coliseum, and I was vindicated in that. But yeah, to me that was years in the future. Maybe I was thinking 10 years or something we might get PWHL Vancouver, and then suddenly...
Yeah, obviously, the first thing that happened, the takeover tour. We were at the takeover tour. We brought our mom to the takeover tour. It was incredible. We had so much fun. I was devastated because Toronto lost. What can you do? And that was when things started percolating in my head. We got a game in Vancouver. 19,000 people showed up, and that was the highest attendance across all the takeover tour games. Over 19,000 people. We were 3 of those 19,000 people, with our mom included.
Yeah. As the numbers kept rolling in from each takeover tour stop, I would check to make sure that we were still the highest. It's probably very petty of me, but I was like, we need to be at the top, and then we were, and it was still insane.
Yeah. And then, rumors started going around. Our numbers showed up in that little graphic about the numbers of the PWHL tour statistics, and Vancouver's number was in there. No one else's specific city number was in there. So I thought, all right.
Yeah, something's happening, something big. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the announcement, that wasn't quite an announcement. Announcement will happen, they announced. So, of course, we were all on that announcement. I was sitting in the car when it dropped with data on in the car with my dad. He was driving, and I was just locked in on the PWHL. And then, basically, as soon as the announcement was finished, I was buying my season ticket deposits. I bought 4 of them, not in contact with my twin, who also bought some. So just superfluous depth that's going on, but it's okay. Team has more money now, I guess.
Hell
more
yeah.
money to lure in Sarah Nurse, but we're getting there.
Yeah, no spoilers. Everyone knows. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, after the announcement happened, I bought my season ticket deposits. I was still in the car with my dad, and then I was like, Dad, we're going to Pacific Coliseum right now. We're driving. So we hit East Hastings, and then we get out. I'm wearing my pink puffer jacket. I'm running around, screaming my head off. Well, not quite that excited, but I was very...
Figuratively, yeah.
The emotions were high. And I was just looking at the building on the first day, the day of the announcement, thinking... stupid water bottle. I wasn't thinking about my stupid water bottle. I was thinking about the fact that this building, which has sat empty since the Giants left in 2016, that almost 10 years later it would have a new primary tenant, and it would be our team, a women's team, a PWHL team. It felt completely insane. I was like, I couldn't even imagine this 2 months ago.
Yeah.
But now it's actually happening.
Yeah.
And we're getting a team.
And then we got so absolutely freaking just insanely excited that we decided we must immediately start a podcast. And since we are the primary tenants, the team that is of the Pacific Coliseum, what better name for the podcast than the Primary Tenant Podcast?
The Primary Tenant Pod. And now we are Primary Tenant Pod because of the Coliseum.
Exactly.
And the many times that I've stood there in front of its doors, walked around it. It's like a weekly ritual now. Me and my dad, we just walk around it and go, oh my God, women's hockey. It's going to happen. Oh my God. Look at the facade. Imagine all the banners that could be on there. Oh my God. Just imagine Sarah Nurse. Imagine a big billboard of Sarah Nurse right outside. We have fun.
And also, we've been getting ahead of ourselves because we haven't talked about the signings yet. So yes, that was the introductory segment.
Yeah.
Who we are, how we got into the PWHL, how excited we are for the team, how we got our name as the podcast, etc. And now, the huge news that's dropped in the last day. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the signings.
Quick temperature check. How do you feel about them?
I'm over the moon. I'm so happy. So I was on our Instagram story the day that the signing window opened, and I was just like, oh, the signing window's here, but I knew that it would be open for, what was it, 5 days or something. So I was like, we probably won't get a lot of signings right away. Who knows what's gonna happen? And then suddenly, Thompson and Jaques are ours, and then over the course of the next day or whatever, it just felt like a few hours. Suddenly it was like, oh, Maschmeyer and Nurse, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? Maybe I shouldn't swear. What the absolute hell is happening?
Yeah, and I was at work actually for when Maschmeyer and Nurse were announced, and I checked my phone on my break, and I screamed in the break room, and no one else was there. I was closing by myself, and I was just so thankful that no one could hear me because it just overtook me. Obviously, as a Toronto fan, the addition of Sarah Nurse to our team is very exciting to me, but I'm so happy about our other signings as well. Right now, at the moment we're recording this, it's only 4. Fifth slot might be, we might.
Yeah, I honestly, I keep like checking my phone. I want to keep checking my phone while we're doing this to make sure that someone hasn't just dropped while we're talking.
Yeah, well, we can do that, but right now, yes, we haven't even said our signings. Claire Thompson.
Yes, first signee.
Yes,
very big.
Defender from the Minnesota Frost.
Yes.
Sophie Jaques, defender from the Minnesota Frost.
Yes.
Then we have Emerance Maschmeyer, goalie from the Ottawa Charge. And yes, I understand. Yes. And Sarah Nurse, forward from the Toronto Scepters.
Your Toronto Scepters.
My Toronto Scepters.
Yeah. See, like the thing about all of this is that obviously I don't like the Frost. They beat my team in the final, and I kind of hate them.
I don't like the Frost because they beat my team twice in the semis.
Yeah, so like we have kind of like a bitter hatred for that team, just on a pure sports level. But also, I've always loved Sophie Jaques since day one. She has been my absolute love. I love watching her play. I like watching her interviews. I just like looking at pictures of her. I love Sophie Jaques so much, and then suddenly she's on PWHL Vancouver. She's signed for 3 years.
I know, and that's the thing. She wants to be here. That's not like that's the longest contract you can have in the PWHL.
Yeah,
and
that's like a foundational signing. I would consider it.
Yeah,
I would consider that one of our like inaugural foundational signings. Yeah, like they had in the first year.
On the level of your exactly.
Yeah.
So it's to me that's incredibly special that she wants to be here for that long.
Exactly, and it's Sophie Jaques, man.
I know. Okay, it's Sophie Jaques.
We have some information on them too that we're gonna.
Yes.
Hopefully share right now, sort of in order of how they were signed and everything.
So now that we got our preliminary ramblings out of the way.
Wait, also, can we just pump up Claire Thompson for a
little bit? Yeah, of course. Go for it.
Well, we're
pump
her
up.
Get to her right now. She's going to be the first person that we talk about. The Russell of paper, because we're kind of analog. Yeah, so she's 27. She's 5'9", so she has size. She's a left-hand D, and she's from Toronto. And she's played for the Toronto Arrows, like minor hockey, and then she played for Princeton. This is really notable because obviously our GM, Jenn Gardiner was the head coach at Princeton, coached Claire Thompson.
I think there were also rumors that we would get a few Princeton alums because of that.
Exactly, yeah. So now, like, we pulled the tiger with literally our first signing, and probably one of the best ones that we could have.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was incredibly cool, and I really like that connection there. I think it really helped us out. Yeah, so she was really good with Princeton. She was a captain in the 4th year. In the last 2 years, she led the D in scoring for her team, and previously to that, she'd been second in D scoring for her first 2 years. And after university, she played in the PWHPA, Professional Women's Hockey Players Association, which formed after the collapse of the CWHL. We're going to get to that later. In the 2021 and 2022-2023 seasons, she's been on Team Canada for a long time, since like 2021, I believe, where she won a gold medal at Worlds in 2021, silver medals in 2022 and 2025. And she's also an Olympic gold medalist in 2022 in Beijing, where she had 2 goals and 11 assists in 13 games, 13 goals, 13 points, 13 games, which is a record for D at the Olympics. I'm literally just staring at my sheet, which maybe isn't the best podcasting practice.
It's okay. She has so many accolades. You have to read them off. You can't memorize them all.
I have to read them off. Yeah. The notable thing about Claire Thompson is that she's in med school. She's in the middle of her medical school degree.
Yeah, exactly. Like a dual threat, triple threat, just in life.
She's a genius, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, like basically I'm gonna put my paper down so I don't destroy this podcast with random paper noises. But she originally wanted to be a reserve for New York in her first season because she was studying at NYU, getting her degree. But it didn't end up working out because of her visa, which kind of sucked.
Yeah.
So she just basically didn't play for the first year. Like, she wasn't really playing hockey. But then, of course, the next Olympic cycle is coming around, and, like, she wants to be on that team again, right? She wants to get another gold after 2022. So it kind of became, like, a question of, okay, like, do I put my degree on hold and start playing hockey again? Like, what's the situation here? So she decided that she was 2 years into her medical degree. She would put it on hold and go back to hockey. She got drafted in Minnesota in 2024, and she had just an amazing season. It was like there was no rust on her, basically.
Yeah.
She just like took off, and she played really well. And people said like she's one of the best defenders in the league. She was nominated for Defender of the Year this year, along with her teammate Sophie Jaques.
We're getting to that.
Exactly. Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, she did this year. She had 4 goals, 14 assists, 18 points in 30 games. Which is very good for a defender. And now she's signed with Vancouver for 1 year. 1 year is notable, I think, because it sounds to me, a lot of people have been saying this as well, that she's probably going to go back to medical school after this because I heard someone say her credits are in danger of expiring. So she wants to get that degree.
Well, if she wants to transfer, I have the pleasure of working with a few UBC medical students. I'm just saying we have a pretty good medical school. Claire, if you want to stay.
Come to UBC,
Come
Claire.
to UBC.
Play for the T-Birds. Okay.
No, she's professional now.
She is professional, yeah.
Yeah, and very, very, very good.
But just think about how good we would be with Thompson and Elliott next year. Okay, this is complete. By the way, the Thunderbirds are the UBC Thunderbirds, who the hockey team for the UBC U Sports. It would be absolutely insane if anyone ever got Claire Thompson to play for a U Sport program. But anyway. This is complete conjecture here.
Not even just conjecture, pure fantasy.
Pure fantasy. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah, pure ridiculousness. In my fantasy, she is taking a year off, or 2 years to finish her degree, and she's destroying U Sports Canada West while doing it.
Then she finally gets UBC their first national championship since forever.
Exactly.
Anyway,
we've been so close so many times, but have yet to do it.
Not important. Back
to reality.
Back to reality.
Okay. Yeah, so basically, I have some quotes from an athletic article that was written by Haley Salvian, before she started playing again. Basically, Fillier, her teammate at Princeton, wouldn't that be sick? No, I won't say anything. Says she's a little reckless, but in the most poised way possible. And that's basically how it looks like to see her play.
Yeah, I would agree.
Right? Like, she does crazy stuff, but like everything just kind of works.
Mm-hmm.
As like an offensive defender. So she gets the points and stuff, and it's really awesome. Yeah, and Kyle Cushman, who is a PWHL reporter, released her little highlight clips and his reactions to each signing as they happened. And about her, he says that she's a great skater with excellent vision, which is basically like, how do you describe her in, how many words is that? 6 words.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the IQ, the smarts.
Yeah. Just the skill to pull everything off. Yeah. So anyway, very, very excited. Do you have anything else you'd like to add about Claire Thompson?
The first time I ever was aware of her presence was in a video that Bar Down did, which I think was one of the worlds of 2022. No, not 2020, 2023 maybe.
Okay.
And I remember I mixed her and Philia up so many times,
No.
which I felt really, really bad about because I thought they were the same person for way too long. This is before I knew anything about.
Well, can you imagine if
women's
they were the
hockey.
same person and they were just like this phenomenal combination of like forward defense? Anyway, again, let's move on.
It's hot in this room and we're getting delirious.
Philia, you want to become a Vancouver blankety blank so bad.
They had to protect her, gosh darn it.
I know. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, so that's Claire Thompson. And of course, right after Claire Thompson signed, which is already huge, we got Sophie Jaques.
Yeah,
Basically, more or less at the same time, I would say.
pretty much. Like one signing was leaked or dropped or whatever, and then
Yeah.
immediately Sophie Jaques as well.
It was like bam, bam.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sophie Jaques is a couple years younger than Claire Thompson. She's 24. She's 5'8", right-hand D. And she's also from Toronto. She and Claire Thompson actually played. They both played for the Toronto Arrows. Few years separated, but Jaques got in a couple games on Claire Thompson's last year, so they played together in junior for like a little bit.
That's
which I thought was
really cool. I
So,
love
They
that.
kind of knew each other from before,
Yeah.
apparently. I mean, I hope they were playing together in those games. Maybe someone was injured. I don't know. Anyway, they were on the same team.
One can presume.
They were on the same team for a couple of games back when they were like teenagers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then after that, she was at Ohio State, where the team, like, they weren't really doing so hot. They'd never won a championship. They were kind of like, yeah, it just wasn't like an amazing team. She played there from 2018, 2019 season to the 2022-23 season. And she was insane in college. She racked up points like nobody's business. She had a season. This was I think it was her junior season, where she led the entire team in scoring with 59 points in 38 games. It was 5th in the entire NCAA that year. That's insane for a defender.
I was gonna say she's a defender.
She plays defense. And 59 points in 38 games is an absolutely mad pace.
Yeah.
I can't.
Have we talked about the Patty Cavs?
This was the year that she was a finalist but didn't win it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they did win the championship though. It was their first ever championship for OSU.
I'm just gonna assume that she put the entire team on her back and.
Yeah, I don't really know. I'm not the biggest knowledge keeper of NCAA hockey. I'm getting better on it, but
yeah.
I think Emma Malte was actually on that team.
That seems Emma Malte. Anyway.
But I'm not sure. I'm not sure when Emma Malte graduated. But that would be cool if she still was.
Yeah, I have to do more reading on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I should know that, shouldn't I? Anyway, yeah. Oh, she was also on the team with Jenn Gardiner, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Which was really cool. They were always kind of like 1-2 in team scoring during that time, which is awesome. Please sign.
You
If I
want
check
to
my phone
sign so
during-
bad.
If I check my phone right now.
Wait, just check right now, just to make sure.
Okay.
Just check.
Okay. And we're still talking about Sophie Jaques. So if you want to just
I'm gonna pick up the piece of paper and
yeah.
keep.
So
okay.
in her last year, she I can't podcast while looking at my phone. This is so
You're checking to
stupid.
see if we've signed anyone remote like Jenn Gardiner. Anyway, in her
Yeah.
last year, she was second in team scoring to Jenn Gardiner.
Yes,
is-
that's
is-
right.
yes.
And this was the year that she won the Patty Kazmaier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
which is the Patty Kazmaier Award.
Did you
is-
say masters in engineering?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's also on there.
So she's also a genius. Okay.
She's also a genius. She got a master's in engineering.
We just signed two absolute geniuses.
casually winning the MVP award, the best player award in women's hockey while doing her in the last year
In the
of her-
NCAA, but yeah.
the last year of her degree, doing her master's. This is what I love about women's hockey.
I
Is that so
know.
many of them are just like absolute geniuses. They have like these degrees and stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, med school. You know,
Yeah,
I have a
like-
master's in engineering.
Yeah, like extremely high level professionals. It's insane.
Yeah. Gwen
Yeah.
Phillips, goalie for the Charge. I love her. Anyway, she also is an engineer, and it's just like, this is crazy. You're
Yeah.
so smart. I'm at university, but I'm not doing that stuff.
Anyway, back. Let's just get back on the horse of Jaques.
Yes. Sorry. I'm still like, I have to check if
I
we've
don't think-
signed someone. Let's see. Jenn Gardiner.
What? Actually?
Yeah,
We actually signed Jenn Gardiner.
we did. It literally. This was a really.
Sorry, I'm losing my mind.
It dropped an hour ago.
Guys!
About an hour ago, it dropped. I haven't checked my phone since then. This is absolutely insane.
You have no idea how much I'm losing my entire mind.
I feel like
You guys, I was just. Oh my god. Okay, so we have all 5. We need to do more research on Jenn.
Okay. Okay.
Well, we have some stuff on her. We were just talking about her.
We were just talking about her. What's really funny is that I did all my research. I wrote my notes, and then I had my. See this? It says 5th signee ? Question mark. And now we know it's Jenn Gardiner.
Well, that just I feel like that just completely derailed our talk. Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Oh, we were talking Jaques.
Yeah, we were. Anyway, back to Jaques.
Back to Gardner's teammate.
Okay.
Jaques. I feel like we've just reached peak podcast when like news drops,
Yeah.
relevant news drops while you're recording.
Look, we kind of already reached peak podcast.
No. But I feel like this is kind of a foundational moment
Oh,
when
you're
you're
right,
like
you're
talking
right.
about news that's happening, and you look at your phone, and you're like, oh my god.
I think you're right. Okay. Anyway, Jaques.
That's right. So after her crazy, insane college career, she was drafted by Boston, 10th overall in the inaugural PWHL draft. She got off to an interesting start in the PWHL. She was pointsless in her first 7 games. People were kind of muttering about it. They were kind of like, she comes with this great scoring pedigree. What's going on? And then 7 games in with Boston, she gets traded in the first ever PWHL trade. I remember when that hit. It was a shock. It was
To Minnesota. Sorry.
Why did you do that? we were like, we didn't even really know. We didn't really know how trades would happen. We didn't know
it was a first.
The rules were like you can't trade draft picks. She was traded for Tapani and Abby Cook, as I recall. It was crazy. It was a pure hockey trade, which is all you get in the PWHL these days. And then suddenly she's in Minnesota, and then we're kind of like, okay, what's gonna happen here? Is she gonna, she found her footing in professional hockey, and ever since then she's basically been one of the best defenders in the entire league.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I still can't believe that we have her.
I know.
I think of all the signings that happened, I think the other ones are all obviously insane. But Jaques is the person I want to see in a Vancouver jersey the most.
I know. Like, if I see her on the street, I will obviously not approach her and freak out, but I'll freak out internally quite a bit. So
yeah, I feel like it would heal something inside me to see that. I think. Because I've been, again, she was on the Frost, and I have no great love for the Frost, but I do love Sophie Jaques.
Me too.
It was an eternal battle for a long time. And now she's just going to be on our team, which is just the most insane thing. It's like out of my furthest, wildest imagination, fever dreams, anything.
It is. And also the thing is, she's been signed for 3 years, which really implies like a great deal of stability. Like,
exactly. And
she's been traded. She's now the first player in the league to have played for 3 teams.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so I think 3 years, stability. I really, really hope that we keep her for that length of time, that there's no other random trade that happens because she's a Sophie Jaques. You keep her.
Exactly.
I just want her to really love Vancouver. Like, more than anything else, I want her to love Vancouver and for her to stay.
Yeah, and I'm getting emotional just thinking.
Me too.
About it.
Me too.
Yeah.
God, the tears, they're welling up.
Yeah, she's also quite young.
Yeah.
Right now, like after her 2nd season, she's 24 years old.
When her contract expires, she'll be 27.
Exactly.
Which is still very young.
Yeah, which is still very young. She's like hitting her peak right now, basically.
Yeah.
She's like launching into like what people consider like the peak age for defenders, I think.
Yeah.
So
like imagine her, but like better.
Yeah,
That's so scary. Like for other teams, the rest is hopefully gonna be like amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just.
Yeah.
She was the first signing that I actually saw dropped. I saw her signing before I saw Claire Thompson's, and so for me, Sophie Jaques is kind of the first signee in a way.
But it's great getting them together because apparently they were roommates in Minnesota, and
they were roommates.
Yeah. And now I'm just thinking, did they make the decision to sign here together? Like, was that a joint decision? That would be so cool if it were.
Yeah, I don't want to be like writing fan fiction about how it all went down and everything, but the fact they signed right away, like basically at the same time together. So.
And good that I think that they have someone they know as well.
Exactly, yeah. That built-in connection. One thing I don't actually know is whether they played on a pair together.
I feel like I remember, again, I'm not the biggest Minnesota, like, knower. I don't know a lot about, like, because they weren't my team. They kept beating my team. But I could swear, because one of them was right-handy, one of them was left-handy.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah. I think we have a
So we have
top pairing, guys.
yeah, either that or we have like stud left-handy, stud right-handy. You can shuffle them up and down, and
Yeah.
we have options basically.
Yeah, which is incredible.
Which is really cool.
Yeah. Anyway, so we've rambled a lot about how much we love the Minnesota players.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Let's go to
Yeah.
the players who came from our teams. So, do you want to talk about?
Yeah, that part is also crazy.
Yeah. Do you want to do Mash first?
Um,
Let's do Mash first because she was announced before. Sarah.
actually, I had Sarah first in my. Actually, what I wanted to talk about a little bit too is that, another thing that I really like about Sophie Jaques is that she's also seems to be quite community
Oh yeah.
oriented because
Yeah.
she's been working with Black Girl Hockey Club, for years. I think she started off with the American chapter, as far as I know, and I think she's also on the board with the Canadian one right now. So like she seems like like she just has like a I don't know, put like a hockey spin on this, but like a good character.
Yeah.
It's
the kind of thing where it's like, she's just a good kid.
exactly, a real peach of a human. But it just seems really cool, like she has these like kind of community oriented values. And
Yeah, that's
I know
really
that
important.
when the takeover tour happened, there was a Black Girl Hockey Club
Meetup.
meetup in
Yeah.
Vancouver, and they met Sarah Nurse, who isn't on the board, but I think she's also involved in that way. So yeah, that was kind of my segue into talking about Sarah Nurse. When I
Yes.
was
Okay,
originally
that's a
planning
much better segue
this.
than just yeah.
They've both been involved with Black Girl Hockey Club.
Yeah.
That's another thing I want to mention. Before the Maschmeyer news dropped, PWHL Vancouver, with its first three players that have been leaked or whatever, not officially signed but leaked, was a majority black team, as 365 Hockey Girl said,
And that was incredible.
which was really cool.
That was really cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was neat.
Yeah.
And now we turn to Sarah Nurse. I need another paper for her. Russell. Okay.
We're all good. It's the sound of knowledge.
Yeah.
Paper
so
rustling. Okay.
The first thing you have to know about Sarah Nurse is that she already has her face on a billboard in Vancouver,
Yes.
downtown Vancouver.
If you go down, I think it's on the ex Victoria's Secret, I think. Like the Shoppers. That's
Yeah.
like on Granville, I think. I think it's on
Somewhere around-
Granville.
It's downtown somewhere.
Yeah, and her face is huge.
Yeah.
You walk past and it's like Sarah Nurse.
Yeah, she's next to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
for
she's
some
already
reason.
like a huge face in the city, just downtown.
Yeah.
It's of course we signed her.
I thought that was really, really funny when I first saw it. I was like, what? Oh my God, Sarah Nurse, big, looking at me in Vancouver. It's just amazing. And
And that was like Sarah Nurse real looking at me in Vancouver. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh my God, Sarah Nurse, real?
Yeah.
Playing hockey in Vancouver.
Yeah, but anyway, people already know who she is here. That's
Yeah,
important.
They do.
So, do you want to give
Um,
us more information?
Yeah, I just think it's really, really exciting that we have such a big, brand name player. Obviously, like, she's amazing. She's an amazing hockey player, and we're gonna get to that. But also, like, she has a recognition. She has the star power.
Aura. I would call it aura.
She has the queen energy.
Yeah, she really
has
does.
the queen energy.
Yeah.
And it's just I feel like we needed kind of that big name.
Yeah.
Obviously Seattle has Hillary Knight now, and we have Sarah Nurse.
Yes.
And Sarah Nurse, she has a lot of endorsements. She has a lot of brand deals, and she's basically everywhere. And I think she was honestly one of the first women's hockey players that I was really aware of.
Yeah, I remember standing in a McDonald's was it 2023, I think, or 2023, while the Women's Worlds were going on. Was it 2023? Fact check me. Anyway,
I don't
and
know.
she scored an incredible goal on the TV because it was women's hockey was playing in a random McDonald's in Vancouver. And I was like, I love her. Who is that? I'm obsessed with her. Oh, it's Sarah Nurse. I know that name. And that was like the first time I was really actually aware of like just women's hockey ground in my orbit. I know pretty late, but in the span of my life,
Yeah.
but it was so cool.
I think for me it was 2022 because the Olympics were that year,
Mm-hmm.
and we're gonna get to that because she had an amazing Olympics. But
God, maybe it was the Olympics. I just straight up just do not remember. My brain is so fuzzy.
yeah, I didn't watch those Olympics.
Mhm.
I wasn't watching them. I was tapped out. I wasn't paying attention to any of the hockey. But she was promoted on cereal boxes. I think it was Cheerios. She was on boxes of Cheerios in the grocery store. And I remember walking down and I was fascinated by this Cheerio box with Sarah Nurse on it. I wanted to have the Cheerios.
Yeah.
I never bought the Cheerios because I wasn't buying my own groceries at the time because I was only young. But
It was, anyway, all that to say, Sarah Nurse in Vancouver is again like just one of the wildest things that I never thought would happen and has happened and is real. And
Yeah.
she's going to be here, as she said in her intro post, on Instagram.
Mhm.
she can't wait to be here in November. I'm like, please, let it just be in November already, please. Please.
Enjoy the summer here.
Yeah.
Why
Anyway,
not?
but we have
come
more
over.
Sarah Nurse stats to share, so take it away.
Yeah. So she's 30 years old. She's 5'8". What I like.
Wait,
is
are all three of the players we talked about, have they been 5'8", all of them?
Thompson is 5'9", which is not bad size for a defender.
I know. I was just hoping that they would all be 5'8". Anyway, continue. You fudge the numbers. Anyway.
Actually, what I do like, I think all of our signings so far are pretty decent size.
Yeah.
You know, like they're all skilled. They're all really quite dynamic, but like, you know, they're pretty sturdy too. And she's from Hamilton, Ontario. She's the cousin of Darnell Nurse. She's not the sister of Darnell Nurse, just getting that out there. Yes, and she played for the Stony Creek Sabres of the provincial WHL, which is also where the Toronto Arrows play, which is where Jaques and Thompson played.
And just to clarify, the provincial WHL, that is Women's Hockey League. What does that stand for precisely?
The Provincial Women's Hockey League.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah, it used to just be the PWHL, but then of course our PWHL happened, and then I think they had to change it.
Yeah.
Or I think, is it the Ontario Women's Hockey Association now? Something like that.
Yeah, just have to clarify to make sure it's not the Western Hockey League. It's not the PWHL. It's like, anyway.
Definitely not the Western Hockey League, Mon bro. Anyway. Yeah, so she has a really long pedigree with Team Canada. This is something that Jaques doesn't really have, and Thompson kind of does, but like not as much. But Sarah Nurse has been tapped into Team Canada like since the U18s, back in 2013. So like after she graduated junior and everything. I keep calling it junior. I don't know if that's what you actually call it in the women's game. Like after she left the Stony Creek Sabres, is that
that's a junior league?
Is that considered junior? Okay,
yeah.
I'll just keep calling it junior then. After she graduated junior, she went to Wisconsin for 4 seasons. From the 2013-14 season to the 2016-17 season, and which was really interesting. So, like in that final season, going to 17-18, that was Olympic prep season, and I was looking at her elite prospects. I was staring at it. I was like, she played in this random league called the AMHL for 18 games with Canada Team Can. What's going on here? And I clicked on the league, and it was like this random U18 AAA boys league.
Oh, really?
In Alberta.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, what the heck's going on here? Is this a mistake or whatever? But then I was looking like at the list of players in the league, the list of teams and stuff. It was to me it seems like in that for the Olympic prep, they had Team Canada women's players play games like as a team against
AAA
U18 players, and
that's so bizarre. That's minor hockey. Okay, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, well, what kind of blew my mind a little bit was that I recognized some of these dudes from. I watched junior hockey, quite a bit of junior hockey,
men's junior hockey.
Men's junior hockey, yeah. And I recognized. I was like Dalen Kiefler.
Oh boy,
Sarah Nurse played against Dalen Kiefler and Ty Bauer.
Okay.
Ty Bauer. Also, some like neighbors was playing in that league at the time, and Ridley Gregg and stuff. But I was just like, it was actually these names will not mean anything to most people. Like you probably don't know who Dalen Kiefler is, but you
don't need to know who Dalen Kiefler is.
Kamloops Blazers legend Dalen Kiefler. But anyway, that's enough about them. It was a collision of worlds for me. I was shocked. Anyway.
Yeah.
But it seems like that was how they were preparing for the Olympics, and that was her first Olympics in 2018, in South Korea, and so that was a silver medal year for Canada. So we don't like to talk about it that much. Yeah, but she did get her first Olympic gold there. So it wasn't like a big, points year for her at the Olympics. It wasn't really her breakout.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Olympics. That's so cool, right?
Yeah.
So that was like her first experience there. And then in the 2018-2019 season, she played 1 season in the CWHL. Now, as you know, this was, maybe you don't know, this was the last season for that league.
Yeah.
The Canadian Women's Hockey League.
Yeah.
After which they folded. This was way before my time.
Yeah.
But I know I've been trying to read more about it and get more into the history of women's hockey.
Yeah. Just thinking about the legacy of the women's hockey leagues, like in America and Canada, that have been started and then folded, really makes me emotional. Yeah. But anyway, let's keep going.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, she was playing in the CWHL. She played for the Toronto Furies, so she's kind of always had that Toronto connection, basically. She had 26 points, 26 games. So that's a point per game. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Especially for a rookie in the league, baby. Yeah, so that was 14 goals, 12 assists, and then the league folded.
Mm. Let's get back to happier stuff. What happened next?
The PWHPA formed because, okay, basically, again, I'm not the biggest expert on this, but there were two competing leagues. So there was the CWHL, and then there was the NWHL, which was in America, which later rebranded to the PHF. There was a little bit of bad blood between them, as far as I know. And once the CWHL folded, then a lot of women's hockey players got together and were basically boycotting the PHF. For better conditions. Like, we want to play professional hockey. We want to be treated like professionals. We want to pay like professionals. We want to have the amenities of professionals. And they kind of organized these like exhibition tournaments, I guess, with kind of chapters and like teams and things like that. It wasn't like a full-blown league. It was kind of like exhibition games. They called it the Dream Gap Tour. So she played in that. She played with the Toronto chapter. 2020, 2021, with Claire Thompson, by the way. They were teammates on that team. So
you don't say.
We're getting a lot of teammates. I think it's basically
that is incredible.
People who have played with each other before.
Yeah, I really love that.
Yeah, so we have obviously Thompson and Jaques, Minnesota Frost, and then we have
Gardiner and Jaques.
Gardiner and Jaques,
yep.
and then we also have Thompson and Nurse. So it's basically just like a giant circle.
Yeah, which is great. It's just like the hockey world's small, and then suddenly everyone who is on your team has already played with each other, which is great.
Exactly. Yeah. Of course, then the next year was the 2022 Olympics. And this was, I think, Sarah Nurse's hockey coming out.
Yeah.
This is like, okay, world, welcome to Sarah Nurse.
Exactly.
Because she popped off. 5 goals, 13 assists, 18 points in 7 games.
Yeah.
18 points in 7 games.
You know what? I revised my previous story. It must have been this Olympics. It must have been. I don't know where I got 20. I'm just tired. This was it.
When you saw her in that McDonald's.
When I saw her in that McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why they would have been playing like the IHF Women's World. It was probably the Olympics.
The Women's Worlds are baller and sick, but anyway.
I completely agree. But
yeah,
it must have been. Yeah. That's incredible.
But yeah, this was like her big year, and I think this is also where a lot of kind of the stuff that happened, getting her face on cereal boxes. The NHL 23 video game with Trevor Zegras. The 2023 All-Star game.
Yeah.
This is kind of where it all kind of happened because she had that major Olympics.
Wait, is that when she scored that like amazing goal, the shootout goal on Shesterkin?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's my girl.
Yeah, that was
anyway.
That was at the NHL All-Star game in 2023. Yeah, but no, right now we're talking about the Olympics.
Yeah.
So she set a new record for assists and points in a single tournament at that Olympics, and I was like looking at that stat last night, and I was like, I wonder if anyone's broken it since. Which was really stupid.
Come on.
Because then I realized, wait, this is the Olympic year.
Yeah.
We haven't had an Olympics since. She's held on to that for 4 years. Which is super cool. And I don't know if anyone is going to break it. I mean, wouldn't that be sick? But
imagine if she broke her own record again.
Right now, it is Sarah Nurse's record, and that is very cool. So then 2022, 2023, she's still doing the PWHPA. Again, she also got on the cover of NHL 23 with Trevor Zegras, which I remember I was in Best Buy and they were selling that the little DVD cover of that. And I was walking past and I was like, Sarah Nurse.
I do not play video games, but I almost bought it just for her. That would have been a mistake.
Yeah, this was before the PWHL, and I didn't really know any women's hockey players yet. But I knew Sarah Nurse because she was on cereal boxes and she was on NHL 23, and I was just kind of like I was fascinated by like the idea of a women's hockey player. I was like, oh my god, this is so cool.
Now it's so normal.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's so normal. At the time, I was like, oh my god, I was a complete newbie to the world. I was like walking by it, like, oh my god, that's Sarah Nurse. I was like, Mom, look, that's Sarah Nurse, and she didn't really care.
Now she cares.
Now she definitely cares. Yeah. Anyway. After that year, then the PWHPA helped form what we have now, which is the PWHL.
Yeah.
Also, she's been on the board of that, by the way, since 2020. I just thought I should mention that.
Yes, like she's very important for everything that happens next with the PWHL, basically.
Yeah, so she was inducted onto the board in 2020 of the PWHPA. So she's been super important to basically getting women's hockey to where it is right now.
Yeah. Obviously, the PHF was bought out.
Yeah.
The PWHL was formed.
Yeah.
And she was a foundational. Was she a foundational signing?
She was a foundational signing.
She was, sorry, I don't trust my own brain. She was a foundational signing for Toronto.
I'm the one with the paper, so you have to be more confident.
I am. I do know this. I was freaking out when she was signed, for God's sake. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, both times.
Yeah. So, in 2022, 2023, 2024, we get the PWHL,
Yeah.
and she's signed.
She's a cornerstone of Toronto.
Cornerstone of Toronto.
Yeah. Again, like the face of the franchise there, I would say. Or, the team, because whatever, there are no franchise in the PWHL, but
semantics.
Yeah.
And she had 23 points, 24 games that year.
Really solid pace.
Solid pace.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider the fact that Toronto was kind of bad.
They started off not well, obviously.
It was that everyone was kind of doomering about it.
Yeah.
They were like, oh no, another trash Toronto team. Ha-ha.
But no, because then we had that incredible, like, it went into the teens, like, win streak of games, and I was living my best life, and it was incredible. And then Minnesota crushed our dreams in the playoffs.
Thanks a lot, Jaques.
Anyway, all that to say is that Nurse was great on that team.
She was. Yes. And then the next year was this year, the season we just had. It was a little bit rougher for her.
Yes.
I think you can pretty much say that.
But she was injured, and she had to come back from that injury.
She was injured.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had to come back from that injury. I think I've heard people say, some like bitter Toronto fans are like, oh, she wasn't what she was hyped up to be, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, can you put a number on exposure?
Yeah, no, you can't. Yeah.
I will always have a deep and abiding fondness for Sarah Nurse because she got me into women's hockey, basically. She let me know that it existed. Her face was her face was places, and I looked at it and said, that's a woman playing hockey, and that's what drew me in.
Yeah. Say, like, for Vancouver especially, for the team that we're going to have, people have been potentially touting her as next captain. Whether that happens or not, she will end up being the face of the team, because she's already, like, a face of women's hockey, if not, like, she is. So
I think she might be just on, like face recognition alone. She might be maybe possibly the most famous.
Well, I would say Poulin Knight, definitely.
I mean,
Knight, like, obviously really happy that Seattle got her. Can't wait for the rivalry.
But I think she's kind of...
Nurse for sure is very, very visible.
She's very visible. She's very popular. And I think for casuals who don't know that much about women's hockey and who don't know, like, all the, she just has the most exposure everywhere.
Yeah, we don't really need
to... Out here, at least, in the West.
We don't need to rank people.
I don't want to rank people, but I think she definitely has... If people know who she is.
Yeah. Anyway, that's to say, even if, like, she is a great hockey player,
she definitely is.
That goes without saying. And whatever she brings in terms of exposure and, like, chemistry and just persona and aura to Vancouver. Aura. I said it before. Queen energy. That is so incredibly valuable, and I'm so happy that our team has it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm thinking Queen energy only. She should do, like, skates at Queen's Park.
Queen's Park, yes! I totally agree.
Just community stuff at Queen's Park Arena. I think it'd be perfect. Just rename it Sarah Nurse.
I mean, she could do that, and also if she wanted to, that'd be, like, a good place. I'm totally spitballing for, like, the Black Girls Hockey Club events, like they did, like the meetup in Toronto. If you wanted to do that, anyway.
Okay, well, see, we have primary tenancy of Pacific Coliseum, so I would just say have all that stuff at Pacific Coliseum.
I mean, of course. Also, at the same time, I'm like, name Queen's Park. Anyway, I'll stop. That was just a fleeting fancy.
We have family in New West, so we really like Queen's Park, and I think it would be sick if Sarah Nurse were to just kind of be cited there. I think it would just fit.
Go out from, like, just beyond, like, the boundaries of Vancouver into, like, the broader region, the Lower Mainland. That would also be cool.
I think it's got to happen, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, we have so many minor teams from all over the place.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. More than, like, in Vancouver, I would say.
I don't know the numbers on that, so I'm not going to say anything. But
yeah.
It's I'm thinking about all the opportunities that there could be for, like, community outreach and stuff is making my head dizzy, honestly.
I know. And it's really cool. And I can't wait.
Yeah. And thinking of, like, the rest of the Lower Mainland, we just signed Jenn Gardiner.
Yeah. Okay, but first we talk about Maschmeyer.
Yeah, we have to talk about Maschmeyer. Maschmeyer obviously has also played with all these people because she's been goalie on Team Canada for many, many years.
Yes.
So she has played with she's played with Thompson. She's played with Nurse. She's just played with Gardiner. And yeah, the latest was Jaques at Women's Worlds. She was, right?
I would imagine she was.
Yeah.
You want to fact check? Just keep spitballing and I'll check.
Anyway, rivalry series or Women's Worlds. No, wait, no, this year she wasn't. Emerance was injured.
Oh, you're talking about Emerance at Women's Worlds. For some reason, I thought you were talking about Jaques.
I was trying to decide if Emerance and Jaques had ever been on a team together before, and I completely forgot
that she was injured.
Which is really stupid because it destroyed me as a fan that moment.
I just blocked it out of your mind because you were too traumatized by
trauma,
it. Don't worry.
I don't want to start off the Emerance Maschmeyer segment by talking about how she got injured because it's just too depressing for me. So, I'm fumbling on my papers. Okay.
That's okay. Here we go.
She is 30. She's 5'6". She's the shortest signee that we have.
I was about to say, wait a minute. 5'6". That's my height. You mean I could be an elite goaltender?
Well, if her name is Emerance Maschmeyer, maybe. Yeah, she catches left, if that's important. I think Phillips catches right, actually. Correct me on that if I'm wrong, but I feel like that's kind of
interesting.
One of the interesting things about Phillips. But this is not an Ottawa Charge podcast. This is a
PWHL Vancouver.
And we just signed Emerance Maschmeyer, baby. Okay. And she's from Alberta.
Yes.
Bruderheim, Alberta.
Western Canada represent.
Woo! Yeah. This is one of the quite interesting things to me was that everyone was saying, like, oh, she's probably going to move out west because, she's from here and her family is here. And I'm just like, there's like a desert and mountain range between us and Alberta.
Two mountain ranges.
A lot of mountain ranges, actually. But there's a really big one, at the border. Yeah. You might have heard of it.
Oh, yeah. I forgot completely about yeah, never mind.
Yeah, exactly. And, so people were kind of, it is closer, obviously, much closer. But I was also thinking about, what about her wife, though? What if her wife's out? Her wife is from Ontario, I'm pretty sure, right?
But it's a moot point because she signed.
She signed!
I'm still so in awe that, we got these people. I don't know. Somehow, to me, Vancouver just feels too scrappy. I can't explain why. It doesn't feel real yet. But as we're talking about it, it's starting to sink in.
Yeah. Okay, so Emerance Maschmeyer grew up playing boys minor hockey in Bruderheim, Alberta, and surrounding areas. In 2011-2012, she actually got 7 games in the AJHL, which is pretty sick.
In case you're wondering, that's where Cale McCarr came from. Just saying, that's a pretty high level.
The AJHL is like a junior A boys league.
Yeah,
so it's pretty neat. And she also has a really long history with Team Canada. She played the U18s in 2012. 3 games for a .984 save percentage. One thing you'll hear about Emerance Maschmeyer is that her stats are freaking insane, just the whole way through.
Yeah.
She's basically been elite since the day she was born, I think. Anyway, after that,
I think she should trademark that. Just put a merch line out. Elite since the day I was born. Anywho,
I don't even need credit.
Yeah,
you could just take it. I'd just go for it. Yeah. Anyway, from there she played at Harvard. They're geniuses. Anyway, 4 seasons, amazing save percentages the entire 4 years as a starter.
Yeah.
.935, .943, .943, .938 from 2012, 2011 season to 2015, 2016. And then after that, she was a CWHL player. So we talked about the CWHL before. She was doing that. So she played there from 2016, 2017 to 2019, and then when it folded. 1 season with the Calgary Inferno, moved to the Montreal Canadiens for the next 2 seasons. Brilliant numbers, again, just all the time. And she's consistently played at Worlds every year since 2015. 2014. Except for this year. So it's like 9 seasons of Worlds.
Well, you know what we have? We have Maschmeyer Redemption season coming up.
I think that's what we're gonna get.
Yeah.
That's what I'm really hoping for. It's like she's like, I wasn't at Worlds and I was injured and people are counting me out now and I'm gonna post 50 million.
Yeah.
I can't say the word.
Don't say it.
Don't say it.
Starts with an S. Anyway.
Okay, maybe I'm taking the superstition a little bit far, but anything for Maschmeyer.
Anything for Mash. Yeah. Yes.
She was on the roster for the 2022 Olympics. She started 2 games, .957 save percentage. Wow. And then she also played 2 games at the World Championships that year. So she got 2 golds in 1 year, which is amazing. Brilliant year for women's hockey in Canada.
Yeah.
And she's also a member of the PWHPA. I have the same problem with that name as with the PWHL, is that I find the W quite hard to get out at speed. So I just gotta slow it down.
Slow it down. PWHPA.
Exactly. She played 1 game out of the 4, .968 save percentage. And then in the last year of that, 2022-23, she was Team Scotiabank. She played 10 games with a 9.922 save percentage, which is sick and baller.
Yeah, very sick and
I think I've said that twice so far, and I don't know why. Anyway, and then of course, the inaugural season of the PWHL. She is one of the foundational signings of Ottawa.
Yep. Exactly. Like, I got my foundational signing, you got your foundational signing.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is insane.
I know.
Did they just make this league for us? This team for us?
I think they did.
Did they make PWHL Vancouver with us in mind?
I think they literally did.
Yeah, just with our histories and our teams.
Yep. And also, don't forget that you started as a potential Montreal fan.
Say nothing.
Which means that we got Jenn Gardiner.
Yeah.
So,
but we don't talk about my Montreal fandom.
We do when it comes to Jenn Gardiner. Anyway,
we do. Yeah.
But that's later. We're still talking about MASH.
Yes. Okay. As we know, Ottawa, much as I love them, much as I adore them, you can't deny that they've been an inconsistent team, especially defensively.
That's not her fault.
It's not her fault, but
she's the one who has to make up for all the mistakes.
She was playing behind an interesting defense for basically both of those 2 years that she played for Ottawa. So the first year, she played 23 of 30 games, 0.915 save percentage. This is also very good. It just kind of a little less elite than all of her super elite numbers before, which I think just kind of shows that Ottawa was interesting defensively. She carried them to wins. She carried them on her back.
Yeah.
You know, if you've heard the meme, you know, the goalie deserves a gun. Emerance Maschmeyer.
She deserves an AK-47.
She deserved an AK-47. No, I don't want to get violent here or anything. I don't want to start talking about guns, but
no.
She was a horse.
Yeah.
She put the entire team on her back and just.
Exactly.
You know,
she wasn't just the horse; she was the entire caravan.
She was the caravan. I don't want to talk about caravans. It's a little bit anyway. And then we have this last season, 0.913 save percentage. Again, the half of the season that she played was kind of the inconsistent half. They weren't on fire yet. It wasn't Carla was right yet. It was the depressing middle of the season when it was like, oh my God, we're gonna fire everyone, trade everyone.
I know what that feels like.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, it was just Maschmeyer. She's so good. She's so good. Sorry, I went out of the range of the microphone. She's so good. She's so solid. Her positioning, like, she's not big. She doesn't like just on her own fill up like a lot of the net, but she's always just where the puck is gonna be.
Yeah.
You know, like she just. If you can't see what I'm doing, I'm just kind of moving around a lot. Like I'm trying to do goalie moves on my
in a very small sound recording booth.
Exactly. Yeah, but it like she's not super like athletic like Gwen Phillips is. If you see Phillips play, like she like does like barrel rolls in the crease and stuff to keep pucks out. She does all this crazy stuff. Maschmeyer is not as much like that. She's more
very calm.
She's a calm goalie.
Yeah.
I think, and honestly, I like that for Vancouver.
Me too.
Like I just like a goalie when she's in net. I feel safe. I'm like, you know what, Emerance will handle this.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, it's funny because we have Emerance will handle this, and then we have 2 really solid defenders. Of course, we only have 5 players. It's again too soon to be, just projecting visions of glory. But
this is amazing, though.
Yeah,
it's
I can't help but get ahead of myself a little bit.
Yeah, and so this year she only played 18 games this year before her injury, which I was watching the game and it was she goes down to make a save.
Oh man, I remember this.
She like gets up, she's in pain, she can't, the puck comes towards her, she can't make the save, and then after the goal she can't get back up again.
Yeah, that was horrible. Just watching her unable to rise really was just like
it was kind of stomach churning.
Yeah, you could tell she couldn't bear weight, and it was just like
exactly.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of people this year are kind of like, oh, well, Emerance is injured. Who knows what's going to happen with Vancouver and everything? But I think she's going to have a comeback season.
Yeah. I think that's what not like I'm betting on it, but that's what I would
Yeah.
I don't want to make betting metaphors, but you know what I mean.
What I would really like is if we can get like a really good solid backup and we can maybe have more of a tandem like Minnesota
I think that'd be good for her because again, didn't she just consistently make the most saves of anyone?
She did.
That says something about Ottawa's defense, but it also says something about how much work she was being put through. And if we can minimize that both defensively and with the tandem, that'd be great.
Exactly.
Just to help her out a little bit.
Yeah, I think it would just be really good. I think if she just had, if we had someone there who could like take some more of the load off of her, especially if she's coming back from injury, then she can be really dominant in like, again, like 18 starts or something, or maybe like, you know, maybe 20 or whatever it is that like she needs.
Yeah, like some split. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a little bit of split would be good.
Of course, again, we're just looking ahead, going like, what's gonna happen?
We're about to do our mock draft, by the way. So this is a really nice segue into our mock draft.
Before we do that, Jenn Gardiner.
Well,
we signed her.
We did.
She's the 5th signee.
I can't believe it. It happened.
We still can't
in the middle
believe
of
it.
Our pod.
We don't have an entire exhaustive history of everywhere she's ever played, but we're really excited for that too.
Yeah. She's from Surrey. She's from Surrey. She's from the area, and this is amazing. Yeah. And I'm so excited. And
hometown girl.
At the takeover tour, they said it was starting lineup for Montreal, and they said Jenn Gardiner from Surrey, and the crowd erupted. She got a huge applause. I think it was maybe second only to Poulin, as I remember.
Yeah.
People were really proud of their hometown.
And you know what? I cannot wait for the first game at the Coliseum when she's announced. Jenn Gardiner.
We're gonna go
from
crazy.
Surrey, and the entire place is going to explode.
Yeah, so that was our discussion of the signings. I hope it was interesting. This is our first ever episode. So.
Yeah, as you can tell, we're hyped for everyone. It's crazy just seeing all the news roll in yesterday and today while we were recording.
Yeah,
it was incredible.
It was insane.
I think we have a really excellent, solid core of. We have 2 defensemen, we have 2 forwards, and we have a goalie.
A lead goalie.
Yep. Yeah, and. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think, and personally for us, obviously, we got a foundational player each from our favorite teams.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Our favorite teams until we
and also our favorite player, plural, I'd say. I also really like Claire Thompson from Minnesota as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's really, really cool.
Which is just a complete get.
I know. It's really, it's crazy.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if we've laid enough on the fact that we literally just got 2 Defender of the Year nominees.
Yeah, we did. That is crazy.
Like. The only other one was Renata Fast, who was obviously protected, right? So
yeah,
we just got 2 Defender of the Year. Welcome to Vancouver.
Whoa!
We're so excited.
Yes,
we're so excited to have everyone, and we're so excited that we finally got to like record this podcast.
Yes,
and release it for all of you. Obviously, you know it is our first one. It's a little bit janky.
Yeah.
You know, some things are outside of our control right now.
We're still trying to iron out all the wrinkles, but thank you so much for listening. If you got this far, watching maybe.
Thank you so much, and
for also following us and supporting us before we even released an episode. That was also really cool.
Yep. I think right now we have 35 followers on Instagram, which is way more than I ever thought we would have. We've been messaging with people, we've been chatting, and it's been really great. You know, also everyone in the PWHL Discord who was so lovely to us,
and the support also of like Gloves Off Seattle.
Yeah,
and
we really shout them out.
Yeah. So
you know, a lot of people have been messaging us and helping us, and so it's just been amazing.
Yeah,
and forming connections already before we even released our first episode has been so heartwarming.
I know,
a little bit intimidating, but
no,
really
we can't
exciting.
we can't wait to hear what you guys think of the signings as well. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
We'll be back with the mock draft in a matter of a very short amount of time.
We're recording the mock draft right after this, and we're going to release it really soon.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
Signing
you.
off. Primary
Bye.
Tenant Pod. Goodbye.
Woo!